Today's video is going to be a little bit of a story time video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some perspectives on how I've dealt with things in the past. And this has worked with the divorce situation and without it. The first thing you have to recognize or understand is most of us are going to get caught up in a situation where we expect things to go a certain way, or we want things to be a certain way. This could be like a particular job. I'll use that as an example where the position I had before, it was a job I really wanted. I really worked really hard to get to that position, which was a flight chief type position. I had a bunch of people working for me and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was kind of like the crown jewel, so to speak, of my career progression. Whenever there's something that's really important to you, like that job, or your kids, or the house, or your pension, or whatever the case may be, primarily it's whatever is being attacked, you can get really wrapped up into it and so laser-like focused on that prize that losing it is something that you can't even wrap your head around. Now, one thing that I've recognized throughout my life is if I get caught up in a situation where something is really, really important to me and my identity or my self-value or whatever it is wrapped up into that, it gets amplified on its importance. I know you've heard me often say that there really aren't that many things that are important, and oftentimes the answers are really simple. And this kind of rolls into that particular situation. And this is what I mean. It seems like when you are wanting something so bad and you really grab onto it and hold onto it and won't let it go, it's harder to hang on to. What I will tell you is before I got this job, that job I was telling you about, I was striving towards it and I hit some roadblocks in my career where it was taken off the table. And actually, I had some backslides in my career. I think we all do at some point. And I was really angry and bitter about it. This is back when I was still married. But when I finally made my peace with it, when I was like, you know what, that's okay, my life is still good. I kind of baselined my life. You've heard me talk about that a lot too. Refocus what I'm going for and basically letting the importance of that go, I was able to start improving my life. I was able to start feeling better. The amazing part in that particular story is I ultimately got the job. It was kind of a long, I'll make another video about that at some other point. But bottom line is I'd made my peace with it. I still had a little bit of bitterness about the way the whole thing played out. But ultimately, I had an opportunity to take the position on a temporary basis, and then they put it permanently. And that was all during the divorce and everything. Whenever that promotion was actually happening was in the midst of going through a divorce, which was kind of bizarre. But the thing is, we give power to things ourselves, right? So, and try to follow me for this for a minute. So whenever you take something that you add a huge amount of importance to, it can dominate all your other decisions and the way you interact with things and how, just how things go. Now, I know you can be looking at this going, well, wait a minute, how in the hell does a job pertain to my situation with the divorce court and kids and everything? I think it pertains because it really is about perspective, and it's about rolling things back and looking at what you can control and putting effort into things and giving power to things that help you and power to things that hurt you. I know for me that in my mind, I thought my marriage was going to go a certain way. And then I thought the divorce was going to go, or the separation. Initially it started out as a separation. How that was going to go. That quickly turned into a divorce after some of the, once the mask dropped, it was like, holy hell, I'm out. Anyways, the thing is, everything revolves around our perspective and the energy we put into it. I've even seen this with people who were struggling with jobs. You have that goal. You have that thing that you want so badly. You are striving for it. And it's good to strive towards things. And it's good to have goals. And it's good to try to achieve things. But you can't destroy yourself in the process. You can't lose yourself in the process. I think we learn a lot through the mishaps that we have throughout our lives. I know I have. I know there's a lot of things that has made me the thoughtful person that I am because of those experiences. And had I never had them, I don't know who I would be. I mean, if everything went perfect all the time and there were no problems and everything was just hunky-dory, then, would I be the person I am today? The crazy part, though, is where I'm at now, I've actually arrived at a place to where I kind of look at it the same way. I was talking with someone the other day and a friend, and we were talking about careers and stuff, and they're like, oh, you have it so easy. You have it, everything is so easy for you. You have an easy job. And I had to take a pause back and say, well, okay, yeah, sure. I've spent 20 some odd or almost 30 years now towards this career. So I know how to do it. I'm confident in the job. I've done it enough. I understand the dynamics. I understand the politics. But I dealt with a tremendous amount of adversity to get to this point. I dealt with people trying to dethrone me. I dealt with people trying to tear down my reputation, to make me look bad. And people who just were not pleasant to be around. The thing is I don't focus on that. I don't focus on those interactions or focus on what I've lost in the past. I focus on what's good in my life, where I'm heading, and the positive steps I'm making. And I make new goals. I make new pathways to try to head to a different place. And my point is on this is that sometimes you have to let go of the previous dreams that you had. That does not mean that you have no dreams left. It does not mean that everything is destroyed. It may mean that was destroyed, but it doesn't mean that you can't create new opportunities for yourself, new adventures, new relationships, new positive experiences. You don't have to tie yourself to the past and the way you thought things should have gone or should go. Now, I know when you're in the midst of this is really a tough concept to grapple with because the wounds are really raw. You're dealing with it on a daily basis. You're being reminded constantly of what's happened, what you've lost, friends, resources, money, houses, access to your kids. It can even be as simple as, let's say your situation isn't super toxic, but you've been around your kids the entire time and now you're sharing. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be this full-time parent and I'm not. Well, things change, right? You can, like I was just talking about, you can fixate and focus on what you've lost, or you can take a step back and reevaluate the situation and try to find some positive with it. Now, I mean, I guess in a lot of ways on the whole kid thing, I mean, I was working I guess technically I'm still working all the time, but working all the time, and I took that role when I was married. I worked, she took care of the kids, whatever. Did some stuff with them on the weekend, but for the most part, I was working late and all that kind of stuff. So initially, I was freaked out about losing even the limited time that I had. Luckily, I got 50-50, which is, outstanding. And to be honest, I mean, I've had a better relationship with my kids and I've had a better experience with them than I probably ever would have had this situation not happen. Again, that is kind of what I'm talking about. I could have fixated on the fact that my marriage blew apart, that whole little bubble didn't exist anymore. And I could have stayed there. I could have stayed there being focused on that past and that past that couldn't happen anymore. And where would I be? I wouldn't be here. I definitely wouldn't be talking to you. Well, I might be doing a YouTube channel, but it would have been a different YouTube channel. Anyways, my point is that when you are fixated on something that you're losing, look at it and say, okay, well, what if I just let it go? What if that wasn't an issue? What if I didn't give them power over me because that's so important? I'm not saying walk away from your kids or anything like that. I'm just saying remember that when we make decisions like that, when we focus our energy like that, we are actually giving that power to the other person. I think in my situation when I was talking about with the job thing, when I finally said, because for the other position, I had somebody who was just who really didn't want me in that, and I finally just decided, you know what? They're beating me up about being a single father. They're beating me up about the time I need to take away. What if I just find another position within the organization and I can do that and give me the flexibility to be more available for my kids? And it was a tough decision. I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't like something I just woke up one day and I'm like, okay. It took me a while to work that through my head. And to be perfectly honest, even once I made the decision, it was still kind of hard. It was still something I was kind of bitter at. And it was still something I blamed the ex on that it even happened because of all the crap that was happening. But ultimately, it's changed and sent my life in a whole different direction. Had that not happened, I would have never had the opportunity to help out at the school, I only went on a couple of trips, but go on chaperone a couple of trips, be able to go to all the award ceremonies and all those different things, right? So what I did is I changed my focus and my priority to something different. And I think that even if you're in a situation where if you have kids and you don't get to see them, it falls along the same lines. You can sit there and be angry and bitter, and you have every right to be angry and bitter. I'm not saying you don't. But at the end of the day, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you and the rest of your life. You shouldn't have to pay this penalty for the rest of your life. And I get, as soon as I say that, you're like, but I am, because the situation's changed and I'm alienated from my kids and all those different things. Yeah, that's true, but you can pick up the pieces and start a new life. I mean, it's you and I both have the choice on what we are going to focus our energy on. And we can focus on things that just keep bringing us down, or we can focus on things that really try to bring us up.